Hello there YouTube, how are you? My name is George. My ham radio call sign is EI7 Kilo Oscar. In the last couple of videos regarding the audio equipment, we've talked about basic configuration, we've talked about the preamp, we've talked about the compressor, and we've talked about connectors and stuff like that. So in this video we're going to have a look at equalization. And I'm using a Behringer DSP 1124P here as a parametric EQ. So I'll just run you through some of the steps involved with that, and we'll do a basic explanation of parametric EQ versus an ordinary graphic equalizer, which is what you'll see some guys using. So let's get on with that. There's two different types of equalizer. You have a graphic EQ and then you have a parametric EQ. So what's the difference? So let's have a basic look here. A graphic equalizer, it's the simpler type of an audio equalizer. You have multiple sliders across a varying frequency range. Some of them might have 10 sliders, some might have 30 sliders, some might have 20. It depends on the one you're using. So we just take this drawing here where we have 10. We'll say each number represents a slider. Okay, so you can boost or cut the amplitude of the frequency by a certain amount of dB. So the center line is 0, and then we go say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll say, and the same this way, 2, 3, 4, 5. The main thing to understand about using a graphic EQ is when you adjust a slider. Say we adjust number 2, okay? It affects the neighboring frequencies, right? So say we make a cut there, right down to the bottom. If we imagine these are the filter widths, or the filters. You can't adjust the width on that, right? And we pull that one down, right? It's also going to pull down the one beside it halfway through its frequency, right? So it's going to affect the neighboring filters. Okay, so that's the main thing to remember, and it creates a slope effect. You just kind of imagine if you have a bowl and you put plastic cling film on top and you press on it with your finger here, right, and it goes down, right, it's going to pull down the areas either side of where you're pressing as well. So it's the same kind of effect. So just bear that in mind. Some guys use the graphic EQs, but you have more control with a parametric EQ. They're a little bit more complex because you can make additional changes. All you can do in a graphic EQ is you can boost or cut the amplitude, right? Like I explained here, you can go up or down, and whatever frequencies these are preset at, that's it. Okay, so on a parametric EQ we can adjust three things. We can adjust the amplitude up and down, we can adjust the width, and we can adjust the frequency of the filter. So we have more control, so we can limit this effect that we've been having here of affecting the neighboring frequencies by adjusting these parameters. So of all the kind of things you'll be messing about with in the amateur radio end of things, setting up parametric EQ takes the most time because it takes an awful lot of trial and error, and it can take quite a while to get it right. So there's no point in anybody giving you settings or looking at settings online, or me giving you my settings or whatever else the case may be, because that is just not going to work. It's everybody's voice is different. So that's basically it. So we'll have a look at the DSP 1124P now, and I'll give you a quick run through what's what with it. Right, so here we are. This is the 1124P. I haven't this taken out now, so I can't show you the back, but it's pretty similar to the other units. You're only going to be using an input and output for the left channel, which is over this side on the back, and you can see the red lights there. The red lights are representing whether the filter is engaged or not. So we just have it on setting 1 here. It's not one I use, so that's why I'm showing you. So if we go into filter mode, you have a few options. You have off, parametric, automatic, single shot. That's the different modes. You want them all on PA. Okay, so then you press filter select, and we look at filter 1, and we can go to frequency here, and you can adjust the frequency of that filter from 20 Hertz all the way to 20 kilohertz. So wherever you want that, whatever frequency you want that filter, you can just set it here. So we'll say for this, we'll say 100, right? And then we go and we press bandwidth, and then that will go from 1 to 120, right? So 120 is 2 octaves, 60 is 1 octave, 30 is half an octave, etc., etc. So this is the bit that takes the time. You need to find the frequency, and you need to find the width for each filter that's going to suit your voice. Right, so then we can go to the gain. So this is the amplitude. So you'll see there at the moment that for filter 1 there's no light on. So what that means is it's at 0. Right, so if I boost that by 2 dB, you can see that the number 1 came on. See, it's gone off. So that's boosting 100 Hertz at half an octave by 2 dB. And you have a fine control here, but I don't use that. And then when you're done, you press store twice, and it stores it. You can go in then and select a second filter. It's in PA, frequency, bandwidth, gain. You can do all that there, yada yada yada. So outside of that then, you have your left and right buttons. So you don't need to use the right channel because you're only using the input and output for the left channel. So once that's lit up, that engages and disengages the EQ, and then you have your power button, etc., etc. So like I said, this is something that takes a bit of time to get figured out. Out of all the stuff, it takes the most to get figured out is this. So that's just, you have to put in the time and the trial and error and all that stuff. So I put that back on 3. That's where I normally have it there, and that's pretty much the parametric EQ. You have more control, as I was saying in the diagram. You have more control over a graphic EQ, and like the EQs that are in the radios are, a lot of them are like what they call a shelved EQ. Like you'll have 1, 2, 3 and 4. They're preset, so you just pick whichever one sounds the best. That some engineer somewhere decided sounds good. And then you have like what I call a stacked EQ, where it'll give you maybe 100 Hertz, it might give you 500, it might give you 2, and it might give you 3 or something like that kilohertz, and you can boost them up or down. So in a sense, that's just another graphic. But that's the way a lot of the radios are done. There's not too many of them, I don't think. Maybe some of the higher end stuff has fully parametric EQ in there. But just doing it with the likes of the 1124p, you have more control. And the other unit to do, the DEQ 2496, you've even more control on that, because it has a screen, and it'll show you the curve of the EQ, and it does a lot of other stuff apart from EQ as well. So that's pretty much the equalizer. And if you have any questions or anything, you can hit me up with an email. So that's it for this video. We'll be back again very soon with the final video I'm going to do in the series And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. This is George, EI 7 Kilo Oscar. All the best. Bye bye.